Alrighty then, back once again for another reaction. This time it's Once Upon a Time Season 4 Episode 4, and no script, off the riff, to borrow a phrase from YouTuber Cliff Beats. I just decided, rather than like trying to think about what I was going to say, to just hit record and then just speak off the cuff, basically. I have been away for considerably a lot longer than I usually am. Obviously, I update people more frequently of what's going on my Patreon page, so I'm pretty much talking to the YouTube audience right now. Because this is also going to come out a week after the Patreon thing, because that's the benefit of Patreon, you get stuff a week early. But right now, what's the point when I take 2 months to even upload anything? Jeez. So basically, this is what I'm coming around to. People are aware, at least over there, that my mental problems in terms of my depression and my overall motivation and feeling like the world's on my shoulders and stuff, leaving me with very little drive to do the things I enjoy. It was getting very bad, and rather than push myself anymore, with these sporadic upload break, I decided to full on hiatus. I left an update at the end of April, I think, saying about how I was close to tears because I can barely do anything these days, and I was feeling like a failure and stuff like that. And I said, you know what, guys, I need to take a full step back from content creation. I need to just stop. I need to focus on myself and feeling better and getting back within me as someone with a spark inside who wants to actually do stuff and upload stuff and do something with my hands, actually make the things that I want to make and stuff like that. But I can't do that while I'm having mental struggles, and I decided to take the big step of completely hiatusing my channel. And now, obviously, I could have done making a community post on YouTube, but I think with the way YouTube's notifications are and stuff, barely anyone would see that anyway. And you would find out anyway through this kind of intro that I'm saying now, because by now, you guys on YouTube and Patreon are used to me taking breaks, but I don't want it to be that way. But yes, I decided to take a complete sabbatical, complete mental reset, and actually try and work through my issues. And I gotta say, I've seen a benefit. I've come out of the other side, and I like where I am right now. As you can see, the beard got reset again. That was another part of it. I didn't like the way it looked, so I think that was contributing to some feelings of self-hatred and stuff, and so I was like, we're starting again. I'm not going to make the same mistakes I did caring for the previous one. We're going to see if I can grow it again. So from clean shaven, this is how long I've been on break, this is what's come back. so yeah, it's going to have been a good couple months since I've actually uploaded anything, but the important thing is I'm back. In fact, funny enough, almost a week ago I actually uploaded this image to Patreon. A big poster that I put together, hey, I'm coming back on Saturday. I'm coming back on the 10th of June. So I am here to fulfill that promise and jump straight back into things. And obviously that's a Patreon date. You guys on YouTube will actually be seeing the 17th as my comeback date, but whatever. The important thing is I am back. I am rejuvenated. I am healthier. I am happier. just basically the bullet point is that I took a sabbatical to truly focus on myself, and I came out of the other side in a much better place for doing what I want to do, and I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to commit, and I'm ready to upload as much as I can. That's basically the gist of it. So I'm glad to be back. I hope a lot of you are still here to welcome me back, and yeah, here's to going again. Anyway, we've delayed for long enough. Admittedly, I'm gonna have forgotten some of the things that are going on in this current story of Once Upon a Time, but I'm sure, as usual, I will get caught up in the flow and it'll all come flooding back. So, without any further ado, let us begin with Once Upon a Time Season 4, Episode 4. Well then, what a nice welcome back. This is what I love about Once Upon a Time. There's never a bad time to jump in. Obviously, that's not the case if it's following directly from a cliffhanger, but luckily, that's never the case with me, because if I get a really bad cliffhanger, by impulse, I will be watching the next episode very soon. So that kind of works itself out, solves itself. Well, oh my gosh, I was eating good for this. Now, of all the ways you could welcome me back to Once Upon a Time, giving me a Hook-centric and Rumple-centric episode is one of the best things you could ever do, because they are some of my favourite characters in all of Once Upon a Time, and yes, I loved everything about this. Especially the way Once Upon a Time does its mind games with even the audience, not only between the characters, because I had the right instinct in the first place. I was like, oh, Rumple's just trying to, like, scare him off of it. Like, and then I was actually pleased that Hook wasn't falling for it. But then, because Rumple was so insistent on it, I was like, so is there some truth to what you're saying? But no, that means he manipulated me as well. Like, he implanted... I fully believed that Hook was losing control to his hand. Like, we were both placeboed. That blows my mind. I wonder how many people, how many fellow reactors were tricked by the same switcheroo of expectations. This is what Once Upon a Time does best. Like, well, there are many things it does best, but like all the things it does joint best. This is one of those things. The way it flips certain expectations on the head is phenomenal. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Just incredible. Like, I'm speechless. Like, I think in general this was a Hook episode, and secondarily it was a Gold and Anna episode, but oh my gosh, this is the kind of thing I love. You see, you can tell it's been a while since I've done a reaction because I'm struggling to find the words to say. All I can do is express wow, like that was a good episode of television. And I don't think I'm even used to speaking for a long amount of time anymore because I have to keep hydrating my mouth, but that could also be because the UK is in kind of a heat wave right now. But oh my gosh, the Sorcerer's Apprentice callbacks were all very cute. I especially loved the moving broom. Hilarious CG aside, it was just a really fun callback. I especially liked how the original Apprentice was turned into a mouse as a nice call out to the Mickey Mouse version. That was very cool. Got a full explanation for what the box and the hat's all about and what Rumpel actually plans to do with it, and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. If you want to basically ascend and get rid of the limitations, the few weaknesses that you do have, become your perfect self, like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it. But the way Hook was played by Gold in this episode, I was flabbergasted, to say the least, because they got me. Like, I was believing it as well, that the hand was part of the problem. But no, it was that I just planted... Oh my gosh. Like, that was always inside you, and once I implanted the idea in you that the hand could influence you, you started behaving how you really want to, and you could blame it on the hand. Like, oh, I wouldn't normally do this. It's so clever. It's so clever. Speaking of clever, I really liked how Anna was like, send me back home. That was now that I have you under my control, I'm out of here. I love that we got a moment like that where Rumpel was just absolutely helpless to stop it. Like, oh shit, for once, I didn't have everything figured out. But up to that point, I was a big fan of his manipulation tactics, not in a moral sense, but in a you clever bastard kind of sense. But it just kind of went wrong at the very end, thanks to the intervention from the Apprentice in his mouse form, which I was surprised about, because I must be remembering wrong, but I thought when people get turned into animals, they just become the animal in a base state. I completely missed that you still retain your thoughts and consciousness. Like, I know that Jiminy Cricket obviously maintained his, but I thought he was a special case since, like, because he was more anthropomorphic. But you know what I'm trying to say. But oh gosh. So something that amused me was the Snow Queen just trolling Emma in town, like messing with her car with her powers. Is she, like, in certain ways trying to get her killed and make it look like an accident? Or, as I say, is she just fucking with her? Is she just messing around with Emma? Because obviously they have history, but Emma just doesn't remember. And I am very, very curious about that. Speaking of curiosity, this still explains nothing about why Anna is missing in the present day, since she apparently got home just fine. So we'll have to see if we cut back to her at any point to figure out what's been happening. And I have very much a few doubts about the assumptions that they're making about the parents. I think I mentioned this in a previous reaction. I do think that maybe this whole thing about setting out to remove Elsa's powers, I think it was done in the context of an act of love. Like, we don't want her to be burdened with this. I think it's very uncharitable for them to assume they were like, oh, she's not a normal child, there's something wrong with her, let us purge it like a bad disease, like let's make her normal, she's the problem. They are inflicting their own preconceived biases. It's confirmation bias, like, because certain things line up, they're like, oh yeah, well, it's got to be that's why they didn't care, and I was like, no, if you look at it a little bit deeper, I am sure that the twist with that, because I'm not going along with this. As much as the characters spout it over and over again, I am not going along with that narrative. I am sticking with the notion that there will be a twist to the characters, not to me, to the characters, that they did this out of love in an attempt to help their daughter, not to fix her, to help her. There is an important contextual difference in intent between those two words. And that's all I will say on that front. Like, it's all to do with the intent of the parents, and I do not think it was anything negative. I think it was all love and positivity, and I am sure that will come to light. Speaking of love and positivity, I was very much a fan of Emma and Hook getting a real date. And although his own brain started playing tricks on him, and he started giving in to certain impulses and stuff like that, it went reasonably well. And it just makes me wonder what's going to happen going forward, because there's every chance that he could have another slip up, because now he knows that this darkness is still in him. But I'm hoping that doesn't come to pass. At first, I was worried that this whole hand nonsense would mean that the date will become a disaster, but I'm so glad that didn't happen, because I want these two to succeed and be happy and be together. And speaking of success stories, Henry is looking like he's in for a very good arc this season going forward. Because not only is he being super supportive of Regina in her quest to write herself a happy ending, or have the author of the book write her a happy ending, he is also like infiltrating to learn what Regina needs to know from Rumpel himself. And the fact that after all this time of me wondering what is Henry's fairy tale role, what is he actually, I love that if this becomes like a fixed thing, I really want it to. It's funny just being able to go back to the start of the series and thinking, right, your role is the Sorcerer's Apprentice. How about that? I just think that's great. So I can't wait to see how that will go going forward. But until then, I'm glad to be back, and I shall see you guys next time.